I'm Reverend Ken Isige, the senior pastor of CITAM, Thika Road Church. During our last video, we talked about those bad things we've done in life and how we try to hide them or explain them away if we can't hide them. We related our discussions to the parable of the prodigal son located in the Gospel of Luke chapter 15 from verse 11 onwards. We learned that amazingly, God isn't interested in digging up the dark secrets of our past. On the contrary, God embraces all who come to Him in repentance and restores them fully to Himself. No questions asked. Today, I'd like to follow up on that same parable. Join me as we consider the other son in the story, the one who apparently stayed at home. You're watching CITAM Church Online. Welcome. Verse 25 of Luke chapter 15 tells us about this other son. We're told that he was the older one. He was the firstborn son. Being a son and the firstborn in that patriarchal society, he occupied a place of privilege. According to tradition, he was to receive a double portion of the inheritance compared to what his younger sibling was to receive. So earlier on in the story, when the dad divided his estate between his two sons, the first son probably got the fixed long-term assets that were of greater value, while the second son got things that perhaps could be easily liquidated, which is why from verse 13 in Luke chapter 15, we are told that not many days after the dad had divided his estate between the two sons, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth on wild living. After this younger son had returned and been received by the father, with his status as a son fully restored, the older son heard the reception party going on. We're told in verse 25 that he heard the music and he heard the dancing. And so he comes close by and he inquired from one of the servants what was going on. And in verse 27, he is informed, "Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fatted calf because he has him back safe and sound." This older son and his response indeed is quite disturbing. We're told between verse 27 and verse 30 that he became angry. He refused to go out and receive his younger brother and join the celebrations. Now this dad, a loving father that he was, similar to what he did to his younger son, he goes out to meet his older son and plead with his firstborn son. But the older son responds to his father telling him, "Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeying your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so that I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes comes home, you kill the fatted calf for him." Note the tone of his words. He was very frustrated. Note also that he doesn't even address his father with respect. He just begins talking, blurting out, "Look," as he addresses his father. He had a very poor relationship with his father. He deemed himself as a slave, merely obeying his father's orders. He longed to celebrate with his friends over some mbuzi choma, but he blames his dad for hindering his fun. Sadly, there are some of us today who are in God's house, the church, who are like this older son. They come to church regularly. They know and do the right things prescribed by religion. They know the songs, they know the prayers, they maybe even serve in church. But really, just like this older son in his father's house, who was so near his father, yet so far, some in the church today are so close within the church, yet so far from God. And so for them, Christianity is dry and empty, not fun at all. Perhaps deep inside they yearn for something more, but they are trapped in the dictates of mere religion. The older son in the story thought that doing things for his dad earned him the right to receive his father's blessings. But the father corrected him, telling him in verse 31, saying, "My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours." God isn't looking or hasn't called us to mere religion, just doing things for him and us expecting favors from him in return. God has called us to a relationship with him, a sonship, for which we benefit as heirs to all that God has. I want to challenge and welcome you to sonship, a relationship with God. Don't just go to church and follow all that religion perhaps may be telling you to do. I want to welcome you to a relationship, indeed an intimate relationship, where you give your life to God. Let's see what will happen in your life as you give him your all. Indeed, when you're a son, you are an heir to all that God has. If you're watching and you want to experience a relationship with God, inbox me or inbox CITAM Church Online. We'd be glad to minister to you and lead you to a relationship with God through Jesus Christ. Thank you for watching. Feel free to get in touch with us. Give us feedback or ask a question through our social media platforms on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, or on Instagram. The details will appear on your screen. We'd love to minister to you. Thank you for watching CITAM Church Online.